You never heard somebody going live early? All right, we're live. Let's send this link out.
Send the link.
Fire the link off. All right, link tweeted. We're going to be singing songs today. We're going to be asking questions today. Did you ever figure out the answer to the question yesterday?
Oh,
Who's the most famous person who follows you?
I haven't figured it out.
I went down that bunny trail, and I suppose there's an easy way to find out. I tried doing it without.
Yeah, I wonder if there used to be. It used to show you if you went to analytics your top follower.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it today.
I don't know. I think I don't have any like crazy celebrities. Probably an MMA guy or something.
Yeah,
that used to wrestle. I don't know.
It is funny though. You sometimes get that one off from like a connection, interaction, or a fan.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anybody would suspect who the most famous person that follows me is. When I told you, you're like, what?
Yeah, Jonas brother.
For those listening, it's Kevin Jonas. I think Kevin Jonas is the most famous person who follows me, and he's got like over 4 million followers. And so Willie called me at the same time, and I asked Willie, hey, who's the most famous person who follows you? Completely caught him off guard with that question.
Chael Sonnen has 900, 850. Daniel has 1.5.
Chael Sonnen, though, he doesn't follow anybody.
Oh, he doesn't?
Chael follows nobody. I think he has lists set up or something because he engages regularly with us and with wrestling accounts and May accounts. So I don't know if he has lists set up, but
John Bones Jones doesn't follow me, but he has 3 million. I thought maybe he would follow me, but he doesn't.
Well, we'll have to figure it out. Something to dive into. Hey, I got some requests, by the way. Have you been playing the Gable game?
No, everybody, I'm in like, a bunch of text threads and DM threads with wrestling nuts, wrestling journalists even, and they all post the results, and I have never logged on. But everybody says it's fun as hell. I don't even know what it is. What is it? Trivia?
All right, I'll walk you through it right now. Open up GableGame.com.
GableGame.com.
Yep, we're gonna kick off the show doing today's Gable game. I don't know how to share my screen, or I'd share my screen. Next time I'll have that ready for you guys.
I'm on GableGame.com. Do I have to log in and register and crap like that?
No, don't gotta do anything. All right, so here's how this works. Type in any wrestler from just this past season.
Like NCAA season?
Yep. Type in any wrestler.
Spratley. Yep.
Okay, so now you click Troy. So now, I don't know if this pattern is popular for other sectors. So what you'll do is it'll tell you Troy Spratley, sophomore.
Yep.
Today's winner is above a sophomore. You got the conference right. It's somebody in the Big 12. The weight class is higher than 125. The finish is lower than NCAA second. The win percentage is higher than 83%.
Okay.
So now you got.
So I have to pick another wrestler. I have to guess who they're talking about.
Correct. Based on this. So you know it's somebody in the Big 12. You know it's somebody with an 83% or higher win percentage. And it's got to be a junior or a senior.
Okay.
And it's not Oklahoma State wrestler because you can see that's grayed out. So it's somebody else in the Big 12.
Oh, wait. How do you know? Oh, because Big 12 is green.
Correct.
Big 12 green, not Oklahoma State. I was going to say Dustin Plott.
But it's
not Oklahoma State. Somebody from the Big 12.
So I'm going to guess Keegan O'Toole.
Okay, that's a good guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it too because I just want to see what you see.
Oh, okay. Actually, yeah, I should not have guessed him because it said lower than a second place finish and he was second, so that was dumb.
Oh yeah, he was on the other side.
But it is a senior in the Big 12. Now we do know that
we know it's a senior,
and we know it's between 133 and 165.
Yes, we do.
And the win percentage is in between 83% and 95%.
Okay. We should start every show with this.
We're going to.
Maybe not.
We're gonna.
Well, I mean, it makes us look stupid. I feel stupid right now. I can't think.
I know.
Big 12 did not particularly have a whole lot of All-Americans this year. I don't feel like. So we're looking at 33 to 65.
A senior in there. Not at Oklahoma State.
No,
not at Missouri.
Missouri. Higher than 82 is Happel?
Is he
He was a senior.
All right, let's type him in.
Let's type him in, see what happens.
We won.
Got it. Yeah, baby.
That's a fun little game, right?
It's a great game. Now I understand what all the hubbub's about. That's fun.
Now, one of the questions you'll often see people ask is trying to do it without brackets and without WrestleStat. Because
we just did it with that.
Correct. But if you get stuck, No,
you can't. That's cheating.
I've used brackets a couple times. I've used performance enhancements.
Well, I mean, if you get
the problem is like you'll get to somewhere and it's like you'll get a junior in the ACC who did not place in NCAAs. So then it's like you're thinking of who even qualified. It's a brain teaser. I like it. It's a fun game.
Does it start the same every time with you putting in any wrestler?
Correct. Now, what I'll try to do is I'll pick a wrestler that gives me a good indication of like, we didn't today because I let you pick Troy, but like, let's say a Penn State guy so we know if it's Big Ten or not. I'll take a middleweight guy so we know if it's higher or lower. And then I'll take an average like 4th or 5th place finish to see if it's higher or lower than that. So I start like that with trying to get a baseline because then you got to use the rest of those.
I'll tell you what would be super hard, but equally challenging. And you would have to use performance enhancers, which means brackets and WrestleStat. But if they did Gable game and now we're doing 2016.
So somebody pointed out, like, okay, there's only 330 wrestlers.
There's only 330, right? Eventually, you're gonna.
But so what I said would be cool.
The combination to get to that 330 is almost infinite.
Well, no, because you're only gonna have. Well, yeah, but you're only gonna have 330 answers. So after 330 days, you have a 35-day gap before the next season.
Well, and yeah, I guess.
But
what
you
I'm getting
could
at is
pick a random year,
this year is always fresh in our brains, right? That's why, like, we were able to get Cardo Happel after 2 guesses. I wouldn't be able to do that in 2 guesses for a bracket from 3 years ago.
But that would be fun. Like 2021,
awesome.
you do like a week of 2021 or 2022. Like don't go so far. Stick within the recent quad, but there's potential there.
Seth Chisouli. Seth Chisouli is my guy. Easton boy does great technique stuff on video on YouTube. You should see Seth Chisouli's breakdowns.
I'll have to check him out. Shout out Seth in the chat.
Awesome.
Hey, before we dive into some wrestling,
Jericho Weitzel says PBs, performance enhancing brackets.
They are. Hey, before we get into some wrestling stuff, and I'll let the chat know that Willie's off the leash today. Now, the way we've kind of structured it is when we're doing a recap show, we're not going to go live, so we can go through it all. But when we're live, Willie's off the leash. He can deviate. He can deviate to the chat however often he wants.
I love the chat.
All right, Willie.
Genevieve Wave. You're right. He was supposed to be a Jersey boy, but we got him over here.
Before we dive into some wrestling stuff, do you want to announce your big purchase, your big announcement?
Listen. I'm not happy about it, to be quite honest.
You will be.
So once in a while, I and probably every couple months, maybe I tip back a few Bud Heavies.
So far, it doesn't sound
And
like a once a month. It sounds like a.
yeah, not so far, but I'll have one too many Bud Heavies, and like I'll freaking end up shopping for something. It's mostly either Polo or Adidas or Wild Fork for meat. And a couple weeks ago, like a month ago, I ordered, I swear to God, $1,000 worth of meat. Well, one of the pieces was like,
This all stemmed, by the way, from our tearing beef. This all stemmed. It was that night.
yeah, what was it? It was prime ribs overrated.
That's what started this whole thing.
Right. So, and then, so I buy this freaking over 15 pounds, over $100 full Wagyu brisket, which I don't even know how Wagyu brisket is only $100, $120 when like a freaking ribeye steak is $120 Wagyu. Anyway, so I buy this brisket, and now I have no way to cook it really. So now today, Bash talked me into buying a freaking Traeger. So a couple Bud Heavies, I buy $100 thing I shouldn't have bought, and now I have to buy a $1,500 thing. It's just spiraled
But now you're gonna get to smoke all summer. You're gonna smoke all fall. You're gonna be a smoker. You're gonna be a real man. You're gonna be a real American man now.
I am. It's probably going to turn into
An addiction.
It is. It is. I bought. You know, I should have bought a Traeger years ago, but I bought a Blackstone, which is the dumbest thing. I didn't even want it. I just, and I never use a thing. I use it like twice. It's a big frying pan, and it's gonna. The Traeger is gonna give me more years of joy.
100%.
I can possibly imagine. Starting with this monster Fred Flintstone brisket. So that's what I'm doing right after the show. I'm going to pick up a Traeger.
And they're assembling it for you, so it's going to be all ready. You're going to have to season that thing as soon as you get home. Traeger is it's a fun hobby. It's not just like a cooking utensil. It's a hobby. I did a brisket this weekend for Father's Day. My kids just ate that thing up. My wife loved it. Like everybody loves smoking meat, and Traeger makes it. I love Traeger because they make it really easy. Like I had a partnership with them, and I got a bunch of people Traegers, and we all talked about it.
Whose house was I at? And they were like, "Yeah, Bash sent me this." It was a Traeger. Was it Izzy?
Probably, yeah. I got Izzy one.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm not. I wish they should pay me for this, but Wild Fork is amazing. They got Iberico pork, and I've been doing a lot of pulled pork and stuff like that, but the Iberico is it's like the Wagyu of freaking pork. And I do it in the oven and it comes out great. I can only imagine when I
Yeah,
do
just wait. It's going to take over. And then you're going to try the different seasonings, the different barbecue sauces, the different ways
They
to
have
cook it.
Wild Fork has right now, didn't have it before, but they have a Iberico suckling pig for $200. Get a whole pig. I mean, it's a small pig.
Do they butcher it for you and just give you all the cuts of pork
You
for
can
one pig?
You can get it in quarters where you get the whole thing. You just get the whole pig, which is what I'm doing. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Enough about meat. We got some action on the coaching scene, on the coaching carousel. Scotti Sentis leaves Campbell. Troy Nickerson leaves Northern Colorado. Troy Nickerson to Army. We talked about that a little bit. Scott Green staying, which I love. Those guys go back. Scott Green was coached a club with Nickerson, JP O'Connor, I believe. Maybe Donnie Vincent back in the day, or it was an excellent Shamrock Wrestling Club, Southern New York. Just a great, one of the great wrestling clubs at the time. And it comes full circle. Now Troy Nickerson, he has a fantastic career at Cornell, spends a little time at Iowa State, gets a head job at Northern Colorado, comes back to Army. He's going to keep Scott Green, and I think that's a wonderful marriage. And So that's a good situation. But it also opens up Northern Colorado. Who's going to take that job? Who's going to be interested in that job? It's a very interesting situation. They recently announced, or I don't know if they announced it yet, but it sounds like they are going to opt into revenue sharing. There's a lot of revenue sharing stuff going on, and frankly, I am not an expert in all that. I don't even. I don't know the finer points of that. However, Northern Colorado was a team that kind of surprised me. That is opting in or is supposed to opt in. I heard recently that Northern Iowa is opting in after I initially heard that there was no way they were going to. Um, Oklahoma is opting in. Obviously, they're a Power 5 conference, but wrestling is not part of their rev share, which is an interesting twist. Anyway, back to Northern Colorado and the pluses and minuses and who might be interested and who might not. I think, first of all, I always say that Colorado is one of the most underrated states in terms of talent, and that is not my freaking opinion. That is a stat. Go look up All Americans by state in the history of NCAAs, and Colorado's top 10. And that would surprise a lot of people. But still to this day, they produce a heck of a lot of talent. And they only have 2 programs in the state, Northern Colorado and Air Force, Air Force is pretty prohibitive, right? You have to go to military life. You have to have good grades. You have to get a state senator, state congressman to write a letter for you. And some people don't want that life. So they produce a lot of talent. And the only local places are Northern Colorado and Wyoming, that's right across the border. So in terms of being able to recruit, I think it has its pluses. If they keep a lot of kids in state, and traditionally, and Troy didn't even really do that. I think you can get a good base of Division I talent simply by sticking in state. Now, that's easier said than done. I'm not saying Troy didn't try. I'm not saying anything like that. It's hard when you're Northern Colorado to keep Daniel Cardenas there, right? To keep Isaiah Salazar there. These are guys to keep Ryan Deacon there. These are Colorado studs, Tyler Graff, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think there's a great base, and if you make inroads with the high school coaches and the club coaches, I think it's a fertile landscape. The downside is it's a little rural. I shouldn't even say rural. It's not rural. It's a small college town, and I particularly love small college towns. I think they're the best, but not everybody thinks that way. So it has its pros and its cons. It'll be interesting to see what conference they go to as well. Will they stay Big 12? Will they break off? I would break off if it was up to me. And it's also interesting what kind of, and this goes into the Campbell thing too, but it also goes into what kind of institutional support. And the pay and the salary for the staff hasn't, it's not, and it hasn't been Big Ten level money, okay? But it is increasing. They do give you a lot of opportunity to make up the money in other ways. They have a good camp system. So all in all, I think it's an excellent opportunity for the right person. They did have their top candidate there yesterday. But at this time, I don't think, I don't know. I don't know what that person's going to do.
Do you want to say who it is, or can you not?
Nah, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do it at this time. I mean, he's an existing. He's on a staff somewhere, and I don't want to. His
Ruffle feathers.
no. If the kids on the team hear his name, they might call him up and say, "Hey, coach, what are you doing? Are you leaving?" And so I ain't gonna do that, but um, we'll see. We'll see. I think. I personally would be bullish on Northern Colorado from the things I know, uh, and the possibilities. Of course, not everybody can do it, and not everybody will do it. If they get the wrong guy, it'll be good, not great. If they get the right guy, they can really make some.
Do you think it
waves.
hurts? Do you think it hurts the potential with having Poulin and Zurban and their top guys leaving, or do you think it doesn't really matter?
I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters one iota. I mean, you build stuff you look 10 years down the road. You don't look. I don't care if NCAA championships in 2026. Poulin and Zurban having a year. Yeah, it would be nice to get the new coach off the ground with some proven talent, but at the same time, it's not gonna make or break the longevity of the foundation that they're trying to build. Yeah, that you know what I also heard. I also heard that Zurban and Poulin are going to have problems transferring. Once you get up and you're in your fourth or fifth year of college, you need to have progress to transfer. You need to have progress to degree, and there's stipulations. Some of your classes might not translate, and if they don't, then you have to do more time there. I don't know. I don't know how much smoke there is there, but I heard.
Well, and somebody's talking about Dylan in the chat, has TJ Stewart committed anywhere? No, and that's part of it is the transferring and the grades and all that is what it sounds like that is. So that's exactly what Willie's talking about here. With it's not always black and white transferring.
Well, that's why I was always 2-3 years ago when we're doing shows, I was like, how the AJ was out of school. I was like, how's he going to even get in school? So I was concerned about that for AJ. Yeah, it's always tricky, and obviously as you hear things, but as a journalist, I don't know. I don't know exactly the situation, but I heard there might be some issues there. But anyway, Northern Colorado, they had a candidate in yesterday. I think that with the right person, Northern Colorado could do some really good things. And what was Northern Colorado and
Campbell.
I don't think they're going to do Rev Share at Northern Colorado. Oh, they are doing Rev Share at Northern Colorado, but I don't know if wrestling's getting a piece of it. Campbell. So Scotti Sentis, who has done an excellent job at Campbell. Colot kind of got the ball rolling there. And Colot seemed to have strong institutional support at the time, at least relatively speaking. And then Scotti came in and he has recruited his ass off, fundraised like crazy. They, a lot of us hardcore wrestling fans really, I think Campbell became like a little darling of us guys because they were the little engine that could, and they were doing a lot of good things with not a lot of resources. And so Scotti leaves. He's going to wrestling and business. He's going to move to Lancaster, PA, not far from me. I got to get down and see him a little bit. But it opens up. I mean, there's several questions here. It opens up who's going to take the job. It opens up, is Campbell's wrestling program on shaky ground? Now, I don't know, 4 months ago they announced or it leaked that they were having a reduction in scholarships, and they got whacked pretty good. Now, that doesn't mean that the program's in jeopardy of being shuttered. What it does mean is that the job is going to be different than a lot of other jobs in that you're going to have to fundraise your ass off. And Scotti did a really good job.
Listen, I was going to bring that up. It said $100,000 raise in the first 12 days of the fiscal year for Campbell.
Right? In the first couple of days. Scotti didn't interview for another job and then say deuces. Scotti fundraised the hell out of it and said, I'm leaving the program in the best position I could. Mm-hmm. So tip of the cap for Scotti for that really classy act. But part of the job, at Campbell it's just not going to be X's and O's. It's just not going to be recruiting. It's going to be fundraising a shit ton. And, what's interesting is a lot of the non-Olympic sports or a lot of the non-revenue sports at Campbell are in the same boat. Other than football and basketball, they all got a reduction in scholarship. They all have to fundraise. And wrestling Scotti fundraised the hell out of it. 6 figures in the first portion of the campaign. And the other sports didn't do that. So on one hand, the job is a fundraising job, largely. On the other hand, Scotti did it, so it's possible.
Yeah, what do you make of Scotti stepping down to take a non-coaching job? I feel like we don't see that too often, especially for the younger coaches.
No, we don't, and I really like it because I've been really critical of some of these organizations, including National Wrestling Coaches Association, because I feel like there's a disconnect between like there being suits, there being executives, there being administrators, and really having boots on the ground and knowing the realities of a Division I or any division college coach. And Scotty's going to come in with direct knowledge of that.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm excited that there's like a blue collar, for lack of a better term, a blue collar guy in an executive office, in an executive role. So Campbell, I hope they get a quality candidate. I think there's 2 good opportunities right now. Frankly, I think the Northern Colorado job could be really, really good for the right person. The Campbell job, like I always say, there's 77 programs in Division I. Every one of them is a great opportunity, but it's a different role. It's a fundraising type of role. And of course, all this was brought on by a massive restructuring of college athletics in general, where to me, they're all chasing their tail. They're all trying to figure out what the plan is. And for Campbell, it sounds like their mission is to try to go the basketball route. They have a sort of high profile, high salary basketball coach now, and I just don't get it. I mean, they're chasing the money to make the NCAA basketball tournament, and it's like, bro, the CAA hasn't won a college basketball NCAA bracket game since like George Mason, like forever ago. And so I don't know that, but that's me. I think their direction is totally wrong and stupid and unstable. But that's the reality of it is we had COVID, we had NIL get legalized. We have the portal, and it's chaos.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What else, my friend? OU did not. OU's opted into Rev Share, but is not giving a piece of the pie to the wrestlers, which is I don't know. Frankly, I don't know enough about it. Now, you want to talk about wrestling is we're very prideful, and we want to say, hey, give us a piece of the pie. Well, number one, we don't bring in money, so we can't be that upset about it. And number two, I don't necessarily know if it's the best thing. There is a rumor going around, for instance, even the cream of the crop, that Kale went to his administration and said, we don't want a share of revenue. We want you to give us more scholarships. And as the story goes, the Penn State administration said, yeah, sure. And so I think that's a wise decision, because they can fundraise for the NIL stuff, and they can not only fundraise but facilitate. They got a full-time guy now in Clay Stedman who does NIL opportunities, right? So they don't have to fundraise for the NIL even. They can say, hey, local card dealer, I need a deal for Mitchell Mesenbrink, and they connect, and they have basically a liaison, right? So
and donors too. Donors are also trying more and more to get involved with programs. And let's say you're a home builder. Let's say you own a franchise of restaurants, whatever, and you call the coach up and say, hey, I want to support you. The coach isn't really dealing with that, so they're trying to hire people like the Clay Stedmans that can coordinate and figure out and work out deals and stuff like that. So,
right. I mean, that's another key component to the changing landscape of NIL, and especially non-revenue sports. And I think Kale is always ahead of the game in a lot of respects, and I think he was ahead of the game in this one, because these high-level basketball players, high-level football players, they probably have agents or advisors. You know who's not going to pay for an agent or an advisor? A college wrestler. So what does he do? He hires a full-time guy to facilitate the deals between, to facilitate arrangements between college wrestlers and NIL potential sponsors, right? So brilliant. And additionally, why take a little bit of the crumbs that could come from revenue sharing and get more scholarships? I mean, think about it. What is Kale doing? He's mopping up in recruiting. Everybody wants to go there. It's almost embarrassment of riches. And now you're going to give Kale more scholarships? People are already saying, how's he going to fit in the lineup? What's he going to do? He's going to sit behind this guy for 2 years until he gets a chance to start, and yada, yada, yada. Well, Kale's allegedly getting more scholarships. That should only be scarier for everybody. I think it's a brilliant move. And I think...
also, I believe what Logan's saying in the chat, too, without revenue share, there's no roster cap. So if you don't opt into the revenue share, you don't have the same roster cap.
Yeah, that doesn't apply to Penn State, though. I don't think that applies to Penn State.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I could be wrong, but the institution did opt into the revenue share. Okay? So I don't think they have a choice. Like, Penn State University opting into revenue share means that there's a roster.
So you're saying it's school-based, not sport-based.
I'm saying Penn State saying we don't want the revenue share money. I don't think that means that they can forego the cap. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's how it works. And there's people in the chat saying about different schools. Again, on the surface, OU not giving a cut of the revenue share to wrestling sounds bad on the surface. However, if they're getting more scholarships and Noble Pack says they got 5 more, that's better than getting the meager crumbs of the revenue share that they would get anyway.
Yeah.
Another one like that is Arizona State. Arizona State's obviously going to opt in the revenue, or will opt in the revenue sharing, but they're not. The wrestling team is not going to get that. What they're going to do is get a shit ton more scholarships, and so it's encouraging for a lot of these programs, even though it sounds like they're getting slighted.
Yeah.
Let's go through the chat a little bit. See some. I've been on a monologue here. I see what I missed. Noble Pack. Bash, I got news. Tyler Wells is redshirting and going 141. Yep. That is true. A lot of people, including myself, initially. Well, I didn't say it made no sense. I said it would make no sense if.
Yeah.
And I talked to the coaches at OU too, and they said, yes, that is indeed the fact that Wells is redshirting and going 41. Nick Costco says Northern Colorado equates to Utah Valley, in my opinion. A lot of untapped potential in those areas. Yeah, and the difference, in my opinion, the difference between Northern Colorado and Utah Valley is Northern Colorado. I mean, Colorado has always produced a ton of Division I talent, like really good talent and Division I level talent. Now, you're not wrong that Utah Valley is starting to do that. Sanderson is killing it in Utah and a couple other clubs too. But the talent in Utah is getting much, much better. And so I think you're right in that regard. TJ Stewart, no, he hasn't committed. Did Sammy Alvarez get approved? I don't know. Really weird situation. We'll get into that in a second with Jordan Williams getting arrested. Do we see Andrew Alirez look for a proven RTC? No. Andrew Alirez staying put in Northern Colorado. He actually has a pretty healthy and long-term contract to stay in Northern Colorado as a resident athlete. And I actually called Andrew last week to see if he was interested in wrestling Real American Freestyle, because I think he has a ton of potential. And he said, he was a shell of himself. He had surgery right after, as soon as he could get it, after the NCAA season, but he'd love to wrestle on future cards. He said he won't be healthy by the August card. But no, he's staying, he's training for a long time. I believe the contract was actually 10 years. And I think he has the possibility of being a big factor at 65 kilograms. I mean, when healthy, obviously, I'm not saying he's better than Real Woods, but he has a win over Real Woods. He's that level of wrestler. So I'm looking forward to a healthy Andrew Alirez at some point. What else we got? Any talk on surviving Ohio State? Flo seemed to avoid it. I'd be interested in bashing the brains, thoughts, and comments. Well, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I just saw a poster about it this morning. I haven't looked into it all.
Yeah, what's it on? Is it on Netflix? It's on Netflix.
I didn't see it. I saw literally somebody shared it on Facebook. That's...
I'm gonna watch it for sure, and I'm going to probably be angry the whole time while I watch it, and for a couple reasons. And I'm gonna have a take here that's probably a little divisive because I think the criticism of Jim Jordan is highly, highly. I think it's almost completely politicized. And you might be pissed off at me saying this, and you might be pissed off at me, quote unquote, leaving Jim Jordan off the hook. But in my opinion, I don't even think it's an opinion. I think it's a freaking fact. If Jim Jordan now was a plumber, he wouldn't get criticized one fucking iota. He wouldn't get criticized at all. His name wouldn't even be brought up. His name's brought up because he's a top politician, a top Republican, and you're looking for guys to criticize. And that's that. And I'll tell you how. I mean, it's pretty freaking simple. This Strauss guy, who was the physician at Ohio State that's alleged to have inappropriately done things to athletes, and so wrestling, including other sports too. And this is why, again, when I watch this, I'll get mad because I think it largely focuses on wrestling when there was other sports too. Like, I don't know. It's putting wrestling in a bad light. But Jim Jordan wrestles at Wisconsin, right? Wrestles at Wisconsin. He goes to Ohio State as a grad student. He gets a job as a grad assistant, and he works out with the team, and he's like 23, right? Now, Strauss was there before him. The other coaches were there before him. The president, the AD, this guy, that guy. But we're putting the onus on Jim Jordan, who was a 23-year-old grad student. It's his fault, and he's to blame? I mean, what are we doing here? 100 people knew. 100 people knew, but it's Jim Jordan's fault? It's Jim Jordan's fault only because he's a politician. And you could say, well, he's been on record and he's lying about it, that he knew nothing. Yeah, maybe that's true. I mean, I think he's probably guilty of lying about it. But to say that he allowed it to go on, to say that he protected this guy, I mean, I don't buy it. I mean, how about the actual assistant coach? How about the actual head coach? Not this 23-year-old kid that just joined the freaking team because he was in grad school and he went to train. It's his fault? Stop. What else we got? That's about it. Minnesota made him fall out of love with wrestling, says Noble Pack. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. It's the Tyler Wells we're talking about. Tyler Wells wasn't going to wrestle in college. He was quote unquote out of love with wrestling before he got to college. Minnesota talked him in, said, "Hey, you're damn good. Give it a roll. Give it a try." Now, he might have been cutting his ass off because Vance Von is at 41, but I don't think that Minnesota made him fall out of love with it.
Willie, I got a special guest joining us in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Get him in!
Said he needs about 10 to 15 minutes.
All right.
We're gonna have a special guest joining us. What other topics did you want to hit? Let me go back to the show notes.
Well, Jordan Williams got arrested.
Yeah.
Where the hell's the graphic? Where's the hell's the graphic? Why didn't you put out a graphic?
Yeah, there was anytime there's like let's say the Braden Davis news of an arrest, and I get all these DMs, tweets. Where's the graphic? Where's the graphic? I didn't get none about that one. And again, I'm consistent. I don't like to put out graphics about arrests and negative stuff. So very consistent with that.
Jordan Williams was arrested. I think the charges were I don't know. It sounds like he was at a bar.
It sounds like a bar fight, pushing a bouncer, something like
And
that. I
yeah, he
believe.
was at a bar, and they tried to get him to leave, and he pushed the bouncer that was trying to kick him out. And I mean, breaking news: college student gets kicked out of a bar. Big whoop, right? But Jordan has had incidents prior. And so, I mean, he was literally dismissed from the team at Oklahoma State. I mean, this is a guy that was an All-American kind of caliber kid, undergoing a coaching change with David Taylor. Oklahoma State needed him, and he was still dismissed because of multiple incidents. So he goes to Little Rock, and he once again an AA caliber guy. And now he goes to Iowa. Iowa needs a solution at 49, although they're not desperate. They have people. They have good options with perhaps Sammy Alvarez and perhaps and Ryder Block and Miguel Estrada. So there is and Kale Voinovich. So there are guys there. They're not like super desperate, but they also don't have a clear answer. And so what will become of Jordan Williams? I think if it was an isolated incident, I think if Jordan Williams had no past whatsoever, it'd be totally nothing. And it's like, big deal, college guy gets into something. But because of the past, it's interesting. And he's not admitted into school yet. So, you know, you get in trouble before you're even go through admissions. That's tough. I'm a little biased because I love Jordan Williams. I mean, I love the kid. I think he's a great kid, although, you know, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. And
you had a little screenshot, too, in the show notes.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting on the Hawkeye message boards, which are great and always super active, probably the most active message boards around. And you know, sometimes it gets dicey. Sometimes I hate those guys, and sometimes those guys hate me. But it's really a very active, passionate community there. But Bob Nichols, whose name is on the freaking wrestling room, who helped fund the building, the new facilities, Bob Nichols, under his own name, goes right on the message boards and says Jordan Williams needs to figure it the freak out, and so does Gabe Arnold. And so it's really, I mean, you don't see that every day, right? You don't see a program's top booster point fingers, make demands. You don't see him be vocal, right? You don't see him be vocal. And I text Bob. I'm like, whoa, man. I'm like, you're really coming out firing. And he's like, they need a fire lit under their ass. They need to get their heads out of their ass, and they need to start doing the right thing. And he ain't wrong. You know? So it's just interesting because you don't often see that kind of stuff. What else, pal? Where's our? I'm dying to know who's coming on the show.
I muted my mic because there's a truck that's like backing up for an hour, and it must be their first time, and they're like an inch away, and they just won't complete backing up. So all I hear is a stupid beeping because my windows are open.
What are you doing? You got some construction work going on there?
No, I'm in and off my office, and there's businesses all around, and there's 2 doors down. There's a liquor store, and
baby.
And sometimes I won't have my office window open because this time of day they get a lot of deliveries. But it's like 68 degrees out. It's perfect, so the window's open. So I try muting myself when delivery trucks come and back up to their back door. Guest in about 5 minutes. I think you're gonna like the guest. It might be their first time on Baschamania. No more guesses.
The Gable game. The Gable game. I got nothing. I can win the Gable game. I can't win this one. I have no idea who this is.
All right. Let's see what else. Is there anything else in the show notes? We covered all that. Covered that.
No. Let's get some questions from the chat. Let's talk. Let's fill 5 minutes with some questions from the chat because I love them.
Let's do this too real quick, because since our last show, Amy Askren, Ben Askren's wife, did put out an update that he's still on a ventilator. He's on ECMO to support him while he heals. It sounds like he's going to need a lung transplant. So it's still a very dicey, awful situation. So keep praying for Ben. And there's been so many people that want to give updates, and I feel like things get lost in translation, and I want to make sure we don't do that at all. So I'm strictly just sharing whatever Amy says at this point. And
Yeah, and the thing with Ben is all the news has been a little delayed. Like, I mean, it happened a while ago. Like, when I first found out about it, was probably a day or two after it happened. And then another like 5 days or a week went by, and it didn't get out. And because I was told, listen, keep it private. Do not put it out there. Don't, they don't want anybody to know. They want to be private. So obviously you respect that, right? So it might have been a week, might be longer than a week. And then Tom Ryan kind of put it out there. And then Amy gave an update. But everything that comes out, and each update comes out, it seems a little after the fact. So every time something comes out, by the time you hear it, it's probably changed a little bit. And I'm like reluctant. I talked to somebody last night that's pretty tight with Ben, and they were a little bit encouraged that he's gonna come out of
And
this.
Amy even didn't. I don't think she really even wanted to share the update. She did. She said in her update, and I posted the graphic. So you follow Baschamania, you see the full thing from Amy. But she had said that she was waiting for Ben to hopefully come out of it before sharing an update, because she wanted to ask him, like, what do you want to share? But apparently some media people said they were going to put on an update. I don't know if that's TMZ. I don't know what. I don't really think it's like somebody in the wrestling community. It sounds like it was somebody bigger. Like if media is saying, hey, we're going to put something out, that's typically like TMZ or ESPN or somebody bigger than just, a wrestling reporter or something. So, yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Keep praying for him. All right, let's see what we got in the chat. I just sent the link to the guest. Let's hope he can get on. Hey, Derek wants to know, hey, Will, you still on that keto diet?
Me. Look at me.
We got him. Hold on. We got let's see here. All right, Willie, can you see our guest?
What's up, KD?
What's going on?
We got
What's going on?
KD's in Brazil right now. But I said, listen, why don't you hop on the show? You've had a crazy week. And I'm like, how's your cell service? He's like, hopefully good enough. So KD is on here. For those who don't know, KD has a wrestling club in Long Island. He's in the corner of many, many great guys, and they're doing
Yonkers.
some awesome. Yeah, Yonkers. They're doing some awesome things this summer. You guys got guys on world teams left and right. Crazy week for you, KD. I was telling you, it was like a movie. I think it was after the second round win when Duke beat Yanni that you guys running out of the gym felt like Vision Quest, or it felt like a movie, wasn't it, Willie? We were talking about it. Like, everybody's running. You got Duke and KD excited. You got Yanni and his camp coming behind, and it's like, then you got those kids. Those kids were going bananas for everybody. Like, win or lose, those kids wanted you guys.
That was awesome. Good experience. A lot of fun.
Me and KD are gonna be road tripping together this summer a lot. I'm gonna try to get on the same flight as him. Did you send me the flights, KD?
I didn't send any flights. I'll send them after this. It's been crazy. Crazy
We're
time
gonna
here in Brazil.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go to Cadet Worlds first, baby. Jaden James, right?
Yeah. And we got a couple other trips coming up too. Let's do it.
So who are you coaching right now in Brazil?
So Jaden's out here for U17 Pan Ams. It's actually funny. I was talking to the US Bruce Baumgartner yesterday. USA Wrestling sends only one kid for U17s. But if the kid doesn't make weight, there's a couple kids over for freestyle right now. If the kids don't make weight for freestyle, then the freestyle rep doesn't get to go to the world championships. So I think it's bizarre that you don't send two guys to the U17s. I mean, like, your fate is in another man's hands. That's just, I mean, it goes against everything we believe in as a sport. It's just crazy. But yeah, I'm here with Jaden. I guess I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I'm here with Jaden James.
What city is it?
It's like an outskirts of Rio. It's Nitero, I think it's called.
How is it? How's the food?
Food's good. Food's good.
Food's good?
I eat Brazilian at home. I'm eating Brazilian here, so it's good. I'm not missing too many meals.
I was in Rio for the World Championships. Not Rio, I'm sorry. I was in Brazil for the World Championships, Junior Worlds. That's the year Joey McKenna didn't make weight. The year Aaron Pico got screwed. But we were on the coast. It was way out on the coast. So I never really got to experience Rio too much. KD, everybody obviously knows he coached PJ Duke. He has Rocco Welsh. He has, who am I forgetting, KD?
Jaden's pretty good.
Jaden
James.
Oh, Zach Ryder. But I was talking to KD yesterday because it's a pretty interesting time with the class of 2027s being first contacted. I was talking to him a little bit about Gavin Mangano and who he might be interested in school-wise. You also have Cam Howard, who both of us are very high on, right?
Yeah, he's a superstar. He's gonna be really good. Next guy up. So
KD's pipeline ain't going away anytime soon. And you are KD, you're expanded? You got other facilities opening up?
We're in the works of opening up 2-3 more facilities as we speak now. Yeah, just a couple different places, just covering all grounds in New York and maybe some other states.
What about upstate New York, KD? Come upstate.
Well, where you got? You're in Buffalo, right?
Rochester, but might as well be one and the same.
Yeah, well, a good friend of mine runs actually a club. It's actually called KD6. His initials are also KD, so it's funny.
Really?
I wouldn't mess with his territory.
Is he in Buffalo or Rochester?
He's in Buffalo.
Okay, I was gonna say I haven't heard from Rochester. Hey, KD,
he runs out of the Buffalo room.
We got somebody in the chat that wants a quick bio background wrestling for you. Can you give your people who don't know you, give like a little background for you?
Yeah, I just started wrestling when I was like a freshman in high school. I did like jiu-jitsu when I was growing up, and I just started pretty late. And then as soon as it was over for me, I just got into coaching. Didn't go to school, didn't go to college, got right into coaching. And then during COVID, I had to open up my own club, and I opened up, and the rest is history.
And you got like really good guys right out of the gate, which is always so impressive. Like, sometimes people spend so long building a club and then you slowly get a couple of good guys. Like, you got good guys right out of the gate. How were you able to get some of the best talent in the state at your club right away?
So I was actually working with these guys for a long time at another club. So the transition was a little bit easier when I was let go from the club I was at. And then once I was let go from the club I was at, I just, the guys who were loyal to me and the guys who I was working with the whole time, they just followed me to my new place. So obviously, it was, I wouldn't say it was easy, it was easier. It was still hard. Just had to pay some bills and, it's still a lot, but it was easier, I guess, because I had kids I was already working with come right over with me.
Yeah. We have a lot of people.
KD was around a lot, like, of course, like lower profile at the time, but like when we were doing Flow Nationals at a lot of Frank's events, KD was there. KD was there coaching, and so he's been around. He's paid his dues, and everybody's learning about him now.
Yeah, KD, let me ask you this. PJ Duke, obviously an incredible performance this weekend. A lot of people are now wondering, because he's got the right to what, like 3 different teams? I mean,
yeah.
Do you guys have a game plan yet as far as to what he wants to do? Obviously, seniors, juniors. He's still eligible for U23s? Is he planning on going all three, pulling the Mitt Lore, trying to do the hat trick?
So I mean, there's a possibility, but I told PJ and I told Coach Cody, like Coach Cody's his coach now. Like I love him. I spent my time with him. We did our bid, right? But it's time for him to move on. It's time for him to he needs to get coached by Coach Cody, and that's his coach. So he's Coach Cody was saying, hey, I want you. He called me the other day. He was like, I want you at Senior Worlds and at U20s, U23s coaching PJ. I don't want to change anything, and I was just like, that's just not going to happen. I said I might coach him at U20 Worlds. But I said
Yeah.
for seniors and U23s, anything beyond U20s, I mean, you're his coach now. I mean, he's gotta get accustomed to Cody's style of coaching and what Cody wants him to do. And it's just so impressive what he's done because he's just doing it in the high school room. Like people mentioned, oh, he's probably in the Penn State room training, and he's been there twice in like the last 2 months. He's done it all here. Here with his partners with Jaden and obviously the Lehigh guys are freaking awesome. They're like the best. I mean, they're just awesome. They're just the best.
Yeah,
And so yeah, it's up to Coach Cody. Basically, it's up to Coach Cody. Whatever he wants is what PJ will do.
it was really interesting. Me and Bash were at Final X, and we just happened to be. There was one media table with 2 seats, and right next to us was PJ's father. So I was talking to him a lot, and I wouldn't say this on the show if PJ didn't say it himself in the post-match interview. But what he said was, and I agree with you that a lot of people think that, oh, PJ, he's been in this room, he's been in that room. It's been mostly just your room with a little bit of Lehigh mixed in. But what PJ said was that after he committed to Penn State, and Penn State's not real close to him, after he committed to Penn State, a lot of sort of doors closed for him. Can I come train for a day? No, we're good. He said he said this in the post match interview that the only school that would really RTC that would really take him in was Lehigh, and so
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's really nice of Lehigh, and also goes to your greater point that he has done this in your room and the high school room, and his trajectory still like this because he hasn't even gotten to with Penn State room too much.
Well, that's what's scary. He's 18 years old, and I mean he's in the high school club room. I mean he's still going to high school. I mean that whole week he was leading up to Final X. He was in high school. I mean he took a final on Thursday, and then we practiced on Thursday afternoon, and then we drove over to Newark. But it's just crazy to think, where's the ceiling? It's just so hard to identify where his ceiling is because he's doing this stuff out of a high school room and high school club room, and I can't wait till he gets to Penn State. It's going to be pretty special.
Yeah, it's pretty cool too that like from your perspective, when you're kind of just handing him over, right? You're like, okay, it's your time now to go let the Penn State guys continue to grow you, develop you. And you hear a lot of talk about guys translating what they'll do in college and expectations. For you, do you worry about that at all? Because I imagine there's got to be some degrees of like setting a wrestler up to continue to get better in college, but also you're like, hey, once you get to college now, like go be a man. Like you're in the Penn State room now.
Well, I think the biggest thing a guy could take from my club is just something we talk about every day. Is I think a lot of clubs put a lot of emphasis on goal setting, which is important. But I think ultimately the biggest thing, because a lot of people are going to put expectations on you, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on these kids, especially the guys who are better, is just being the best version of yourself. You know what I mean? Everything you do in life, that's all you can do is be the best version of yourself. So we talk about that every single day at my club, is just being the best version of yourself. So yeah, I mean, there's no expectations. I talked to the guys the other day. If you feel like you have too much pressure on you, it's very easy to get rid of pressure. Just lose. You can take away all those expectations and everything else. Just lose. You know what I mean? It's easy. It's so easy, actually. So it's just something we talk about, pretty often. And I think that's why. I mean, everyone's showing high crotches and single legs and all those type of things. But I think that's kind of what separates us is I think the athletes trust in our staff here and also just our message, right? It's just not about winning. I mean, if you're at my club, you probably want to win. I mean, it's just true. If you're coming and you're driving hour and a half, 2 hours to get to my club, you probably want to win. So I just feel like there's no need to talk about it, but instead just being your best version and loving what you do every day is what
Katie,
is kind of bigger message.
what was it like? Or what are the type of things you worked on? It was kind of a unique situation this year with PJ because he's this level, right? He's freaking amazing. But
Yeah,
in his last year of high school, he's going to go through, I don't know, 4 months where he's not tested. He's going to roll everybody. And so how did you approach that? Was it okay, let's just decompress and have some fun? Was it let's work on finer things? I mean, he's going to wrestle a dual meet on a Wednesday night against some sophomore that he's going to pin in 12
yeah,
seconds, right? So how do you approach
yeah.
that?
So I think the biggest thing was, I mean, just having fun. I knew his goal was to make all the teams this year. So I just knew that, hey, we need to kind of decompress, like you mentioned, and have fun this season. I mean, like he wrestled 170. I mean, he wrestled 170 because his teammate
Yeah, right.
was at 160. Quake was at 160, and he won the state title at 160. And it just made sense for PJ to go up and win the state title, Quake to win the state title, and so it just made the most sense for that to happen that way. So. Um, that made the most sense. So yeah, we just kind of decompress. Yeah, it's good to take some time off. Kind of the season was his off season kind of thing because the season's so busy.
Right? Yeah. Interesting situation.
Okay, Dave, you got to
Yeah.
run. You can run, man. I know you're in Brazil.
No, we're
doing
good.
a
We're
million
good. This
things.
is the guy. We're good. No, there's a guy asking
Okay.
me if we're good. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. Well, that's awesome, man. And now it's like when you have a guy like you have Duke. He made what an incredible performance this weekend. Already made the junior team, now made the senior team, eligible for the U23 team. And I got these other kids like Jaden James who are just as talented. They're crazy. How do you go about managing the expectations of different athletes, especially teenagers? And you're managing expectations. Like if one guy does one thing, I'm sure the other, like I'm sure Jaden James now on his radar is like, well, I'm 18, I want to make all three teams. Like, how do you manage the expectations from one high profile athlete to another?
That's a good question. I think I just believe it goes back to stuff I was saying before. Like you don't want to focus on you just ultimately want to be yourself, right? And you don't want to focus on what the next man's doing. Obviously, you could use it as motivation. PJ sees. Jaden sees PJ make three teams, and he's probably like, I want to do that next year too, which is awesome. And it's just kind of that it's just kind of contagious, right? It's
Yeah.
just contagious, and it's something that's really cool. I think that's part of the reasons we've found so much success is through we have kids who just want to be killers, right? So
And
I mean I just don't feel like you just talk about winning it just doesn't matter. There's bigger problems, worldly problems in the world than getting your hand raised in a wrestling match. So just putting things for perspective for these guys, for these young kids, the 17-year-old kids, it's hard to have them understand this concept of like, hey, loss is a blessing. You know what I mean? Like you ultimately sometimes you lose, and what if I told you that loss in the state finals will ultimately catapult you to be an Olympic champion one day? Would you say it's worth it? That's the type of talks we have. I mean, it's tough for a 16, 15, 17-year-old kid to understand that, but I mean, those are the type of talks you need to have with your athletes, especially the younger ones.
that really aligns with what Nolan James, Jaden's father, has been telling me since I followed Jaden since like 8th grade, and Nolan, his father, has been telling me every step of the way, very consistently, that they're not chasing accolades or titles. They're like now they are focused on him becoming the best wrestler he can when it matters most at the end.
Yeah.
And so, and to go along with that, like, Jaden don't cut weight, right? I mean, except
No,
maybe for
he's like he's like a kilo under. Yeah, Nolan does a good job of putting things in perspective for his son, and so does Pete. And I think and it goes back. You mentioned the dads, and I love when people mention families because you talk about a successful wrestler, and it starts there. It starts with upbringing. People don't give enough credit to the parents, but it really does start with upbringing. I mean, you could have a kid where you go tell him what to do, and he runs back to dad and mom, and dad and mom is down your throat, and then you have another kid who's like, you got to listen to coach. So
Yeah.
it's really important, and it just kind of just goes back to just and what you were talking about before goes back to one of our other beliefs is just like process over outcome, right?
Yeah.
That's just like it's something that we
It,
talk about as well daily, just process over
it was
outcome. You know what
it
I mean?
was interesting. It was interesting talking to Pete too, and because here's your kid. He's a prodigy. He's wrestling at Final X, and obviously most dads will talk about the wrestling. Pete, like half the conversation was Pete telling me that he wants PJ to get good grades so he can get into grad school, right? Like, right, he's talking about
Yeah.
PJ just doing the right thing academically, and it was kind of eye opening that that they're focused on doing the things right and prioritizing the right things, and so. I guess when you kind of have that support system and you have a father and a mother that's telling you to do things the right way, those little things, doing the right things every day in your whole life and not just wrestling, they probably rub off on your wrestling accountability too.
For sure. For sure.
KD, you mentioned the coaches. Talk to me about who's on your staff there at the club.
Man, I have a lot of coaches. I mean, as you want me to run down everybody? There's two
Might as
locations.
well.
There's a lot of coaches.
Give them
Yeah,
some
yeah.
shine.
So we have, I mean, Justin Lopez has been with me. He's my teammate growing up, and one of my best friends wrestled at Penn State. And then he also wrestled at Johnson and Wales. He's been with me since the beginning, as well as Alex La Cruz as well was my teammate at the club we were at, and then immediately hired him afterwards. John Marsh is my youth coach at the Hackley location, at the Westchester location. He's awesome, and he worked with a lot of our young guys coming up. And then we also have Coach Nick Hughes. He's the man. He was Jaden's like youth coach coming up, and just a guy who loves the sport. And then in our Long Island location, we have Coach Sparasso. Oh, sorry, and we just hired Tommy Askey in our Westchester location. He was in the blood round twice. Super person, just great human being, and just works hard and is willing to wrestle with the guys every single day. So we just hired him a couple months ago. So he's awesome. And then we also have, in our Long Island location, we just hired Sparacio. And Sparacio wrestled for Binghamton, was All-American at LIU. We have Tony Negron, Uncle Tony's son, who was an NCAA qualifier for ASU. So we have a lot of great coaches there. So it's been great. We've been blessed to have coaches. I mean, a lot of people give credit to me, and but those guys are just hidden gems. They really are.
How many kids you got total now at the clubs?
Please, doping. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I got you. I need 5 minutes. Yeah, I'll give me. You know what? I know what you're saying.
Portuguese.
I guess I'm in the anti-doping spot, so he's telling me that I can't be here. But yeah, I guess that's
In Portuguese?
All right, Katie, go
Portuguese.
go take care of your stuff.
All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Sorry about that.
You're good, man.
Sorry,
Thanks for
doing
hopping on.
anti-doping. I'm sorry. Take care.
All right, see you, man.
Good
Shout
dude.
out KD, first time on the podcast. Would you have guessed him?
No.
Yeah, KD's awesome. He's a good guy. I started working
You know
with
what?
him
I talked
3-4
to him.
years ago.
I talked to him yesterday for like an hour. I had no idea he was in Brazil.
So we've been texting all week. We built the website for him a couple of years ago. We might be redoing it. I was talking to him about it a little bit, and I knew he was heading out, and so I texted him this morning. I said, "Are you traveling right now? You're in Brazil, right?" I'm like, "How's your service? You want to hop on with Willie and I for a few?" So
I tell you what, I've been to like a lot of European countries and a lot of places that use Cyrillic and other, and I can figure it out. You give me a menu in Portuguese, I don't know what the hell's going on. I cannot pick up Portuguese. I don't know why. I'm better in Uzbekistan. Like I know I can figure out the characters. Portuguese I can't. I don't know what the hell they're saying.
All
Which
right,
to
Willie.
me, what matters most. I mean, what matters to me most is like a menu, right? You give me the menu, the food menu. I want to know what's going on. Portuguese menu, I don't know what you're talking about. It's
Oh man, a lot of love for KD in the chat. I'm getting some text too. Yeah, KD's a good guy. He's a good dude. Happy to have him on.
yeah.
All right, Willie. Any final words here?
No. I guess we'll do a show Monday. We'll be watching, and I mentioned during KD. I called him yesterday about Gavin Mangano and his school list, and but watch for on Matt Scouts. I'm going to put up a bunch of the top guys' school lists. Melvin Miller's Flo came out with Melvin Miller's, but I've been messaging everybody, texting everybody, and a lot of people, probably like 3 of them called me for, hey, will you put the school list out? And so Landon Sidden, Sonny Amato, Gray Burnett, Lucas Bowe, Dean Anderson, the top 10. I got their school list, and so watch for that coming out on Matt Scouts.
Very cool. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, like, share.
I gotta go buy a Traeger.
Go buy a Traeger. Go Bills.